Good evening, everybody. How you guys doing today? Well, welcome again. Here we go. Welcome to this wonderful episode of Healthy Habits, Healthy Life with Will and Faith Scott. We get to the root, health and wellness. We take this opportunity on Wednesdays to come to talk about how our choices actually help us to create our habits, and our habits actually help us to develop our lifestyle. So we want to welcome each and every one of y'all to our episode this evening. This is episode 19, and we are very glad and proud to be here this evening. So, Queen, what do you got to say for us this evening?
Thank you for joining us. I'm super excited again.
Yes.
Will and Faith here. We love to come and inspire and motivate you to live a healthy lifestyle.
That's
Why?
right.
Because your health is your wealth.
That is
okay?
right. That's right.
And when we get that up here, it drives us to make healthy choices.
That's right.
That creates healthy habits, that create that healthy lifestyle that we are all worthy of living.
Yes, we are.
So if you're all about connecting with like-minded individuals that's doing this thing called healthy living, you found the right platform.
Absolutely.
We are here for you.
Yes, we are.
You are here for us.
Yes.
We love to come and do fun in-home workouts as well.
That's right.
We love to share healthy, tasty, whole food, plant-based recipes. And on Wednesdays, as Dr. Will said, we love to come and just have some healthy habits, healthy talks. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
each Wednesday, Dr. Will always have a wonderful topic that we all can use. I always like to say news you can use.
That's
so if you're all about tuning in to news you can use, then you're in for a treat tonight.
Yes,
so go ahead on. If it's your first time joining us, thank you. If it's your 100th time joining us, thank you. Go ahead on and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share it with family and friends, okay?
That's right.
Also, let us know where you're chiming in from.
There you go.
We always like to give a few shout outs to a couple of our, not a couple, but a few of our Get to the Root family that always join in on us. And we have Mr. Tom joining us tonight.
Tom.
Hey, Mr. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, my dear friend. And again, don't be shy. Drop a line, say hey, let us know where you're chiming in from.
That's right.
And this is going to be a two-way dialogue, okay?
Yes,
so Dr. Will, he'll be bringing the information, but it's information for all of us to just sort of chime in and dialogue and share our thoughts, all right?
There we go.
You ready, Doc?
Yeah,
awesome,
I'm ready.
Awesome.
Just want to let you know that, we like to come on Wednesdays, not to bust your brain, so to speak, but we want to bring some good, powerful information to you. Short, sweet, to the point, but things to give you that you can think about and ponder over, okay? So here we go, Queen, and we're going to share this slide here for us, So this week we're going to be talking about what? Willpower and healthy behaviors. This is going to be a good topic right here, because one of the things we noticed is that a lot of people always talk about willpower. It's intangible. It's not something that you can put your hands on. So they wonder about it. They ask the question, is willpower real? Is it something real, or is it something I'm just imagining? So, but we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about willpower and how it affects our daily lives. Okay. So that's something that we're going to talk about tonight. Like I said, it's going to be short and sweet, but it's going to be great and good. Something that you can definitely use. Okay. So then we're going to get into our agenda here. And our agenda this evening, first we're going to talk about is willpower real? We're going to talk about what is willpower. Does willpower keep us from reaching our goals? We're also going to talk about willpower and healthy behaviors, and then how can we improve our willpower if it exists at all? Okay, so those are the things we're going to talk about on our agenda. And if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the comment section there, and we're going to get you taken care of. So first of all, willpower, it is real. Okay, it is real. People believe that they can improve their lives and their lifestyle if they have more willpower. That's one of the things people believe in. And then they say that researchers have discovered, and they did a survey, they discovered that the lack of willpower was like the #1 reason why individuals believe they cannot make healthy lifestyle changes. So many of us on this call tonight probably have thought the same thing, that if I had a little bit more willpower, I could be a little bit better. I could reach this goal. I could do this thing. If I just had a little bit more willpower. But a lot of us may not even understand what is willpower, where it comes from, how do we get it, do we have it? So we just want to just bring that to you today. So what is willpower? Let's find out. Excuse me. Let's find out what is willpower. So willpower is the ability to resist. Yes, the ability to resist short-term temptation in order to accomplish and reach a long-term goal. So that's basically what it is, okay? And there are other definitions. We're going to talk about that. But it's the ability to resist short-term temptations in order to meet a long-term goal. So I can share with you a story many years ago when I used to smoke. I can remember that I wanted to quit smoking, and I would always use the excuse of course, when I didn't have any more cigarettes, that was going to be my time to quit smoking, which didn't really work. Okay. However, I came up with a very very funny conclusion or solution on how to quit. So I made sure that I kept a pack of cigarettes in my pocket. I made sure I had the lighter in my pocket, in one pocket. And then in my other pocket, I had like a sandwich bag of celery. I like celery. And this is definitely this was years before plant-based was even in my life. But I said, man, if I could just get past that certain time frame when I had the urge to smoke, or some of you may have experienced this before, if I could just get past that little bit of time, then I can make it. And every time, of course, that I would have that urge, and I would use the celery, I would bite or eat the celery, the little sticks, and I had little celery sticks cut about that long, and I would eat the celery stick, and it would kind of take away that time frame that I was devoted to smoking. Okay. So like I was saying, it's the ability to resist the short-term temptation, the temptation to smoke or whatever it is, in order to meet that long-term goal. Okay. So studies have shown that students that have self-discipline and self-control, they have higher self-esteem, they have higher GPAs. And I know you say, well, self-control and self-discipline, what does that have to do with anything? Well, self-control and self-discipline are actually parts of willpower. Okay. So self-control, self-discipline, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the self-control and self-discipline, these students had higher GPAs, they had higher self-esteem. They binged less on alcohol and eating. They had better relationships. And these were just college students, or just students even from age 6 up to age 11. Okay. But for adults, us non-students also benefited from willpower and self-discipline and self-control, but we're having a greater physical and mental health. Okay. Just having that willpower. So now we're talking about brain power, willpower, cognitive, mental capacity. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. We have fewer substance abuse problems, criminal convictions, even have better savings behaviors and financial security. And these are people that had self-confidence, self-control, self-discipline. Okay. So we have other definitions, or other ways to describe willpower. It helps you to override unwanted thoughts. Okay. The ability to employ a cool cognitive system. And I know you're like, well, what is that? What is a cool cognitive system? And I am so glad you asked me that, because basically this is a thinking system, and it incorporates knowledge about sensation and feelings and actions and things like that, and goals, right? It reminds us or why we should or shouldn't do certain things. Okay. So that's what the cool system is. But of course, with cool, there is also what? Hot. Right? Yep. So there is a hot portion of the system as well, right? In the hot portion, it actually is more impulsive, okay, and it's very emotional. So the emotional system and impulsive system is a system we're going to talk kind of briefly about as well. That hot system overrides the cool system when what? Willpower fails. Okay. So when willpower fails, we start to react impulsively. Okay, so we don't think about it. The cool system allows us to sit back, analyze it, make good, positive choices. But when willpower is not there, or when it's depleted, that's when the hot system kick in and we respond impulsively. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit. So that's about willpower. So we know a little bit about what willpower is. And so does willpower hamper our goals? You know, and that's a really good question. Dr. Baumeister, he's a willpower researcher from University of Florida. And he actually discovered that there were 3 components to actually reaching our goals. Okay. So these 3 components are what? Establish the motivation for change. We talked about motivation on episode 18, right? You want to set a clear goal. That's one thing you have to do. The second thing is monitor your behavior toward that goal. So you want to make sure that your goals and your behavior is in alignment for reaching that goal. And then last but not least, finally is what? Willpower. So that lets you know right there that willpower has a very, very important part in us reaching our goals. So yes, willpower is real, and it is something that's needed in order to help us to reach our goals. Okay, so you got to have willpower. So now to let you know, now willpower alone does not prevent us from reaching our goals. Those other 2 components that Dr. Baumeister was talking about are also a part of that, right? Establishing the motivation, which we talked about before, and then monitoring your behavior towards that goal. You got to make sure that the goal is set and it's a clear goal. Okay. All right. So far now we found out that it is willpower is something that's real. And we also talked about how that willpower, how the different aspects and the different definitions of willpower. So let's talk about willpower and healthy behaviors. Okay, so this is the one that's going to really tie into what we do pretty much on a weekly basis when we're talking about healthy habits, healthy life. Okay, so when we're making the change, okay, so think about this. When you're making changes, healthy behavior changes, there are times that we have to resist temptation, right? So we go through this quite often, right? Things tempt us all the time, okay? So we go through these temptation and impulses, right? But these impulses and temptations can be diminished, right? And if what happens is that if we do not resist, or if we do not try to reduce these impulses, it causes us not to want to reach or actually make lifestyle changes. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to understand is that what's happening here is that you're not emotionally charged. The thing is that you're probably willpower depleted. Okay. Your willpower has been depleted, and it's been depleted because now we're choosing to buy into the temptation or the impulses, okay, that are facing us. So we just want to let you know that we have to resist temptation. It's going to be all around us. So think about it. When you go to make healthy lifestyle changes, right? The first thing you think about, let's say if you were coming off the standard American diet and you were actually eating candy bars all the time, okay? And you say, okay, today is my day. I'm going to change how I am. I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to start this change by not eating any more of these chocolate candy bars. And the first thing you're going to think about once you say that is a chocolate candy bar. Yeah. Okay. And it's going to take everything within you to try to subdue or squelch thinking about that candy bar. And it is so hard. And it actually works on your mental capacity. And that's what depletes your willpower. It takes more willpower to subdue that feeling that you have inside than it does for you to actually not be around it at all. Your thought process will make that happen for you.
So do you think that planning, what is that old saying? Plan to fail or fail to plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Fail to plan and plan to fail, or something like that. But if we put planning into our efforts of doing better,
yes,
and having our plan readily available, where we don't have to constantly make I don't want to say a conscious decision. You should always be making a conscious decision, but just to make that problem solving part less problematic, where it's readily available. Like if I'm gonna eat a salad every day, making my salad before I leave the house, instead of leaving the house, I'll catch that salad later, which later never comes because all of the temptation is around us. So then you have to constantly use those muscles to try to fight against the temptation, versus having my salad with me, ready, prepared, in my lunch bag, with me at work. I don't necessarily have to fight as hard to make that decision or use my willpower. Now at this point, it's just creating that habit, right? And
that's right.
Instead of trying to make a decision to choose the right thing, then I got to go figure out where I'm gonna get it from, and all that takes willpower. And after a while, just willpower just sort of just go right down the drain.
It does.
Planning is more effective than willpower, although willpower is important, right? Because that's part of the process of us knowing we need to make a change. Right.
And also using or implementing the goal to make the change. So Queen actually spoke on how we're going to build and strengthen willpower. And that's exactly how we're going to do it. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. Okay. So we already know we have to resist temptation, right? Definitely, Dr. Baumeister said that willpower is one of the necessary components. We talked about the 3 components earlier. It is definitely a necessary component. So one thing I want you to understand is that, when you go to resist, let's say if you want to resist unhealthy foods for internal reasons, okay? And internal reasons, you see on the slide where it says intrinsic. No, you're fine, honey. When it says intrinsic motivation, we talked about that before. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, right? So let's say you want to resist eating unhealthy foods, right, for internal reasons, right? Intrinsically motivated. But these are the type of people that are intrinsically motivated. They don't use their willpower. It's something that within them, they don't have to really focus on fighting using the willpower, because it's something that they desire to do from the inside out. Okay. So on the other term, though, if you try to resist and try to make these changes from an external standpoint or an extrinsic motivation, these people tend to use more willpower because they're not doing it from belief from themselves or from the inside. They're doing it to please someone else. And I don't know about you, but I know I've tried to please other people, and I'm doing something that I really didn't want to do, but trying to please them, and it didn't work out too well. One of the things I didn't want to do it. Number 2, I didn't believe in it, and I didn't want to. I couldn't be successful at it because it wasn't something that was within me. Okay, so that was one of the things that I learned. So we know that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation are definitely factors in with your willpower, and we're talking about whether that willpower will be depleted or not. Intrinsic motivation or internally, it will not. You will have the strength within to do it without even tapping into the willpower. External factors or extrinsic motivation, you're going to be doing it because of someone else, which means you're going to have to tap into that willpower to fight. Okay. And it's most times you're going to deplete your willpower. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. All right. Our next one, environment. How many do you know? How many people know that an environment, right, all around us, right, is unhealthy things? Unhealthy things, unhealthy commercials, advertisement. So your environment is so important, okay? It is so, so important, you know, that you have to make sure that your environment is clean. And the environment I'm talking about is your home. Okay, you got to keep your home environment clean. If you keep your home environment clean, it reduces the temptations, and it reduces that will depletion that we was talking about, you know. So you want to make sure that you keep your environment clean. It's nothing you can do when you go outside the house, but prepare yourself prepare yourself as much as possible.
Right.
Well, gird up your loins, we say. Prepare yourself as much as possible, like Queen was talking about earlier. All right, but there are certain things you could do, okay? So how do you prepare yourself? How do you get that environment? How do you not tap into that willpower? Well, let's use a couple of examples. What about your favorite restaurant? You ever go to your favorite restaurant and say, oh man, I've been away from there for 6 months now. I'm good to go. When I go to that restaurant, I'm going to eat from the side of the menu. I'm not going to eat some of those old favorite dishes that I used to like. And the first thing you do when you walk through the door of that restaurant is you think about those old dishes that you used to make, that you used to eat. And as soon as you do that, you're tapped right into willpower. And one of the reasons is because, to be quite honest, internally, you want that meal or whatever it was you used to eat in that favorite restaurant, okay? You really do. So now you have to fight through it. You smell it, you see it, you see other people eating it, they look like they're enjoying it. So it's very difficult, okay? So that's when that willpower kicks in, and it gets depleted very quickly. Now you can sustain yourself probably initially, but what's going to come to grab you is that another temptation will come right behind it, and you don't have anything left. You don't have any willpower left. And that's when you fall subject, you know, to diving back into the old ways, the old habits and things like that, you know. So you want to be careful going into those old bars and clubs. You know, you want to, you know, if you know you got a situation going on and you can't sustain yourself, even if a friend invites you, you have to stay away. You have to stay away from those old places and things that you used to do, if it's going to cause you to fall back into old habits, okay? Even in the grocery store, when you're in the grocery store, if you know cookies and cakes was your favorite thing, you know, you can't go by the bakery. You know, you may smell it, but you have to run to the other side of the store, you know, go to the pharmacy or go somewhere else. go to the produce aisle, you know. But what I'm saying is basically, you know, you want to just try to clean your environment as much as possible, okay? And like I said, your willpower is there. It's there to help us. However, it can get depleted the more we use it, okay? All right, so let's talk about how can we improve our willpower. And that was one of the things that Queen was talking about that earlier. So she talked about one of them. She said, actually, it's that second one up there. That's what Queen was talking about. It was called implementation intention. But the first thing we want to do is avoid temptation. And we were talking about that. The favorite restaurant, the bar, the club, and walking to the bakery section. You want to avoid temptation. If you know these items tempt you, stay away. Okay, do not put that burden on yourself. Do not sit back and say, hey, I'm good. I can handle it. You know, don't do that to yourself, okay? So if you know you can't handle it, don't even think about it. Stay away from it. So you want to avoid temptation. You want to avoid the impulses as much as possible. Will you totally be able to avoid them all? No. Okay, and that's where your willpower can kick in, at least enough to get you out of there, out of that environment, so that you can recover and you build more willpower and you be ready to go, okay? Yeah, so you want to avoid temptation, all right? You want to be careful, though. Let me tell you something. Be careful, because our minds are very, very aware of certain items. So one of the things you could do is, they call it out of sight, out of mind. Y'all ever heard of that before? Out of sight, out of mind. Let me give you an example of that. So out of sight, out of mind, right? You're at the desk at work and, you know, you got that piece of candy in your desk drawer. Okay. It's out of sight, out of mind, right? It kind of helps. You know, you're not looking at it, not focusing on it. But how many people are willing to agree with me in saying that your mind knows that candy's in the drawer? And whether you want to admit it or not, it's constantly tapping on you. Tapping on you, tapping on you. You know, the chocolate's in there. It's in there. It's in there. So you know it's there. You're trying to suppress it. And that's using willpower. You're using willpower. You're doing real good. And then you get that famous phone call from maybe a customer or a client or something that's maybe disgruntled, and you've been fighting all day using your willpower not to eat that candy, and then all of a sudden, bam, another temptation comes. And what do? Pull open the drawer and you eat the candy. But this is it. You wasn't emotionally charged by that. And that's not the reason why you went in there and got that candy, because your emotions got in the way. You went and got that candy because your willpower has been depleted. Okay. And you were not able to sustain yourself. So out of sight, out of mind, it does work. However, you want to be careful because your mind remembers, and it remembers regardless. If you try to put it away and don't think about it, it knows it's there. Okay. The second one is the implementation strategy. We talked about that before when we had an episode. We talked about how to make healthy lifestyle changes and what you do. Queen actually gave a great synopsis of the implementation strategy. And she said that this technique is actually used when you're trying to make and create a healthy lifestyle change. Okay. So what you want to do, time and location are your two keys with implementation strategy. All right. So you have to plan ahead, just like Queen was saying. You have to plan. So typically when you're using the implementation strategy, you're using two words, if and then. So let me give you an example. You can go to the company party. You say, if anyone asks me if I want a slice of cake, then I will ask for a banana. I'm just using that as an example, okay? You want to ask for something, though, that something that's likable, something that you like, a healthy replacement, okay? You need some type of healthy replacement, all right? So if someone asks you, then. So remember, the two things in implementation strategy is time and location. And I think that the scenario we used the last time, we was talking about making our meals prior to going to work. So what we was going to do is that at 7 o'clock, that was the time, we would go into our kitchen, which is the location, and we would prepare our meals for the next day for work. So, and that's the implementation strategy. And what it does is it puts something in place so that you are prepared in the event that happens. And when it happens, you don't have to use your willpower. You've already got the decisions made. Everything is already set up. So now your willpower is there to tackle another temptation or impulse that hit you. And that particular situation won't exist. You won't use willpower in order to combat that particular situation, like the cake. Okay. All right. So implementation strategy, right? So the next one is, it says exert self-control, right? Exert self-control. Now, exerting self-control is like an exercise, right? Some of the researchers says that willpower is like a muscle. Okay, it's just like a muscle, right? And remember, if you work that muscle right, the muscle gets stronger. But before it gets stronger, it gets what? Weaker. It fatigues, right? So how do you build muscle? You break down the muscle tissue, right? So the more you exercise self-control, the more you exert self-control in different situations, it helps you to build your willpower. So that's how willpower is built. Another way that it's built is built by exercising self-control or exerting self-control. Okay. So when you do that, you're going to build. And I love that part too. So the next one is rest. Okay. Get you some rest. All right. And when we say rest, we don't mean rest by watching TV or rest by watching your phone. We mean real rest, REM sleep. Rest. Okay. And it gives your body, gives your mind time to reset, recover, and then you'll have more willpower when you get up and you'll be more refreshed. Okay. So you definitely want to do that. And one of the last but not least is fuel. Okay. Healthy food. You have to eat, drink, because remember, the willpower is not tangible, but it is in your brain. Okay, and you need healthy food to help you from having cloudy brain syndrome and things like that. Water and helps the body to flow. It's like the transportation system for nutrients throughout our bodies. It helps us to think better, helps us to think clearer. So these are things that will help us to improve or to build and strengthen our willpower. Okay, So we want to make sure we do those things. All right. So one beautiful thing I want to share with you about our willpower and our minds, our brains are so powerful. Our bodies are too. It does things that even if you wanted to, let's say if you wanted to stop eating or stop drinking water, for your body will go into its own survival mechanism. Okay, it will do whatever it needs to do to survive, regardless of how you feel about it. It's going to fight to survive. Okay, well, the same thing with our willpower. None of us will ever totally deplete our willpower. We have like a little reserve back there just for emergency situations, right? So our minds always keep a little bit in reserves. So even when you think you've reached your jagged edge, you're like, I'm done, I don't have anything left, my willpower is gone, there's a little bit left in there for an emergency situation. So the mind will automatically put that in a reserve bank for you. Okay. And typically what happens is if you ever had to tap into that reserve bank, then it will rebuild immediately as soon as you eat something, as soon as you get some rest, as soon as you exert those self-control, as soon as you do these things, it'll start rebuilding itself back up. The glycogen in your body that fuels the muscles so it can grow and be stronger. So that's what will happen as well for you. So we already know that rest and all these other things and will definitely be part of us to improve our willpower. So with that, hopefully you have a better understanding of willpower and how it affects us. It affects us every day. We have to make choices. We go through different situations every single day where willpower has to be used. So actually, we all have probably very strong willpower systems within each and every one of us. We all go through situations. And I can guarantee that if you exert that self-control, if you actually do some of those other things like the avoiding the temptation and impulses the best you can, clean your environment up, try to do the implementation intention strategies, and then of course fuel your body. Those things right there will help us to build our willpower. So make sure that you have your goals set and try to do it intrinsically and not extrinsically. Do it for yourself. Okay. And if you do it for yourself, you exercise those implementation strategy, which is making a plan prior to doing certain things. That's going to help us to keep our willpower in check and probably keep it from being depleted. Okay. All right.
So willpower is real.
It is real.
It gets us sort of kind of started, but it won't maintain us.
Correct.
Because over time, the more decisions we have to make, the weaker willpower is. That's why by the end of the day, I think I saw someone, I think Tom said, Dollar General down the street, plus peanut butter, eggs, empty willpower gas tank. Yeah, the gas stations are famous. Yeah. They're like infamous. It's the end of the day. You're stressed out for work. You got to get some gas, and you got to go in there and you see all this junk. You're like, you know what? Doggone it.
I'm just going to get something.
I'm done. Let me just grab something. So for some of us, we have to pay out at the tank, right? And that's a decision we make.
It is a decision. And you know what? It's funny because hearing you say that, we get that Reese's peanut butter cup or whatever it is, and we eat it, and it seems like it was like a reliever. It was like, oh man, that's exactly what I needed. Not knowing is what's in that Reese's cup that has just triggered your dopamine, right? And that could be a false willpower builder, if you will, thinking that, hey man, this is what I needed right here to get me pumped up. And it's just a dopamine hit, a quick chemical hit to get you feeling better about yourself or whatever the situation is, at that time. So
I know personally and we all have our struggles, and y'all know I keep it real. I keep it 100. So for me, I love grapes. And I made a vow to myself. I said, Faith, when I say I love grapes, the seedless one, red seedless one, I can eat them by the bags. And so I said, you know what, Faith? From here on out, you're not going to buy a big bag of grapes. You're going to buy just a little bit. And if you eat them, it's got to be with a salad.
Yes.
And for a few days, I did good. well, actually a couple of weeks, I did pretty good.
Yeah.
Then tax season hit, and I got stressed out. I'm still stressed out, y'all. I'm hanging in here though. But today I went into Aldi's this morning, and I was a little stressed out about some stuff, and I saw them grapes, and they was red and pretty and beautiful, and I grabbed the bag. And my willpower went out the window because I ate the whole bag of grapes before I got home. Yeah. And, you know, I sort of kind of beat myself up a little bit. But I'm just saying that to say we don't get it right all the time.
No.
But it helps when we can plan and when we can implement our plans. Now, what I should have did was I shouldn't have went to the store hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't grab any breakfast or anything this morning. And I just ran out to the store.
Implementation.
Right. So for me, I've learned it helps. Grapes don't call my name when I don't go to the store on an empty stomach.
Right.
Okay. So those are little things that I'm learning about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not that grapes is a bad thing, but, you know, sitting and eating a 5-pound bag of grapes, you just shouldn't be doing that, right? At least for me. And because I just can't stop. It becomes more of an addictive process for me. So I'm being true to myself.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, Faith, you're going to eat before you go to the store. Don't go to the store hungry. Well, today I didn't do that. I ended up going to the store, not really hungry. I just hadn't eaten anything. And the grapes got me. They got me, you know. So it's about making progress. It's not about being perfect,
right.
But it helps when we understand. Dr. Will, he's sharing information with us about, you know, willpower and implementation strategies and all these little motivation, goal setting, all these pieces of the puzzle.
Yes.
That when we put it together and we apply it and all, it just helps us become more successful in our goals. So yeah, willpower, it gets us started, but it's not going to sustain us. Right. So I think I saw Jody. No, was it Jody? Someone said something about Patricia. No, wait a minute. Who was it? Yes, Patricia. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And that is so true. So if we can't remember anything else about willpower, motivation, all that, let's plan. Mm-hmm. Let's have a plan. Mm-hmm. Okay. And will that plan mean we have to take a little extra time to, you know, make our meals or to eat before we go to a party or, you know, yes, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Those little habits that we create over time they make the most impact on our reaching our goals and staying true to our path and staying true to ourselves. And I so love what Dr. Will was saying about this got to be about you.
Yeah.
This got to be for you. It's got to be about you. It ain't personal. Right. It ain't about what others think. You know, it's about what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. Right. And we got to believe in the process. We got to believe in what we're doing. We got to believe in ourselves. We got to tell ourselves we're worthy, right, of making these lifestyle changes. That's right. Because our health is our wealth, right? And so I'm just excited. I'm excited about willpower. Yes, it's real. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to keep us. It's not going to sustain us. Okay. No, it's not. So just if you've been telling yourself, I got willpower, and you keep, you know, falling down, it's okay. Get back up. Right. But we're going to have to do more than just have willpower. Yeah. We got to be deliberate. Right. We got to have a plan. Right. You got to have goals. Yes. They got to be sustainable.
Have to be clear.
Yes, sustainable. So yeah, that's good. Let me see.
Missy, Gina. Oh wow,
Gina, thank you for joining us, Gina. Yeah. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here, Gina. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining us.
Definitely are.
Most definitely. Angela. Hey, Angela, all the way from South Beach. How you doing?
Hey.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
We have some of her tribe there, and Misty.
Yes.
Queen does break down things. Queen is our official modifier on the exercise Saturday mornings. You know, she modifies her way. You know, she breaks it down so people can do some of these exercises. No, she does a very good job of breaking down things too, Misty. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'm not by myself. The Aldi red seedless grapes are amazing.
Yes.
But I vowed to myself that I was going to only eat grapes with the salad or veggies, not just sit and eat a whole bag. So today I slipped and fell, but it's all right. It's all good. Okay. Tomorrow is a new day.
And you know what's so wonderful about that is that, you know, Queen said that she slipped and fell over eating some grapes. Okay, some fruit, and it wasn't a chocolate candy bar or anything like that. So for some people that may not be a slip of failure. You know, for some people that might be a slip of some success. Yeah. I mean, because they chose grapes versus choosing that candy bar. Okay, so it depends on what your goals. Internally, remember, she said she made a goal or vow to herself that she wouldn't eat the grapes like that. So that's why she felt the way she felt. Okay, not saying that the grapes were bad.
Right.
Okay, and what grapes were bad, but
all personal.
It's all personal. So it goes back to your goal. That's her business.
That's my business. Exactly. My personal goal. Not that there's anything wrong with grapes.
That's right.
Nothing like that. But I'm just saying, for me, I had set a goal that I wasn't going to sit and eat 5 pounds of grapes. Okay, because it triggered for me a more addictive process. Overall. And so that was a vow that I had made to myself. But
that's right.
So Marie, hey Marie, thank you for joining us.
Marie.
I need more willpower during the year-around sports season. Yeah. That is a very busy time of the year. I think, you know, again, willpower gets us started, but we just have to make deliberate plans. That's Marie. And I know you got kids in sports, and Lord knows we do. Yes. And is it hard? Yeah, it's hard. Very hard. But I have to be deliberate, and I have to implement certain things, you know, like the meals and the food.
We plan extensively, but you know
all that. To help us along the way.
Compliment us.
Yeah, and it's so easy, and that's what we call the pleasure trap. It's we're wired to avoid pain.
That's right.
Seek pleasure and conserve energy. And for some of us, when we think about preparing food and, you know, doing certain things to be healthier, we see it as, Lord, that's labor, right? That's labor. But guess what? Is labor worth taking? I'm telling you. It takes time on the front end, but it pays off on the back end, you know, because our health is worth that investment. Definitely. So I feel you, Marie.
Yes.
I'm right there with you, Marie. But you can do it. You can do it. Right? You can do it. You can do it.
Absolutely.
Make a plan. Yeah. Remember what I think it was Jody said, make a plan.
Yes.
Or plan to fail. So we just gotta make a plan, because willpower isn't enough to keep us.
Not enough to sustain us.
It's not gonna sustain us. Okay? No. It'll get you started.
Help us on the short end.
It'll help us on the short end, but the long term.
The more somebody keep banging on you.
Right. Yeah. Every decision you have to make, willpower gets weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's why you want to have that plan. Yes. All right.
Absolutely.
So, Angela, I had to freeze my grapes to keep. Okay, Doreen, I had to freeze my grapes to keep me from eating so many.
Hey, that's a technique.
If that works for you,
that's
Doreen,
a great technique.
Man, that's what's up. I personally don't like frozen grapes, but hey, if that works for you, my kids like frozen grapes.
Yeah, they do.
They love frozen grapes. But yeah, what works for me, I have to buy just a little bit specifically for a salad or a recipe or something. And when I do that, I tend not to overindulge.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's a good idea.
Thank you for sharing that idea.
Your grapes.
Thank you so much.
I've heard of people putting like nuts. Like if you can't resist nuts, they'll put them in the freezer you know, down out in the garage or whatever. And, you know, it has to be like a deliberate action, okay? And if you're going to go through all that to get them out the freezer and let them thaw out half the time, by the time you got to go through all that process.
Remember, that short term, right? Yeah. The short term, right? Going through that short term time frame in order to get to the long term goal. So that's right. That's right.
That's good. That's good. Just eat plants. Dates, fruits are my weakness. Yes, honey. It's all about that dopamine.
Yeah.
It's just that pleasure trap receptor. Yes. It definitely does.
It's very real.
Gina, I eat sweet potatoes. Let me see. I eat sweet potatoes before going to the grocery store or eat at a Now, Gina, that is a good one. I know for me, when we go to our favorite Chinese restaurant, that's what I started doing. I would eat like a sweet potato, and that helped me not want the junk, you know, at the Chinese place. But it does help when we pre-eat before we go to restaurants. And even if you do get some of the, you know, not so pleasurable food, you won't eat as much because you'll be full.
That's right.
Right? So that preloading, that definitely works. Do that when before you go to parties, potlucks, all that. Just eat before you go. Just eat before you go. So that's a great tip.
We used to travel to Vegas every year. We went about 3 years in a row before COVID had hit. And it was funny. Queen used to put sweet potatoes in her purse. And we would have the sweet potatoes in the airport with us, you know, so we could pull out a yam and eat it there in front of everybody. It was great. But we was ready. We was ready. We was ready. We was prepared. We was prepared and planned. That's right.
That's definitely true.
Yes,
that's true.
absolutely.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
We appreciate everyone for joining us. Dr. Will, that was excellent information. Willpower. It'll get you started, but it won't keep you. Okay. All right. So be deliberate.
Yes.
Have a plan. We'll plan to fail. So we're not planning to fail.
Right.
And if you fall,
that's okay.
Just get back up and get back in.
That's right.
All right.
Another opportunity to get it together.
That's it.
That's all
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
You know.
I always say when you fail, that you just learned what didn't work.
Right.
So don't do that the next time.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Try something different.
Do something better the next time. That's right. All right. This is all the science project. This is research on yourself.
That's right.
You're learning yourself, right? You're learning what works for you, what don't work for you.
What don't work.
So that's what's up. So let's see what else we got. We got any more comments?
Yes.
And Gina. What did Gina say?
I'm gonna see make sure I got that right.
Gina.
Okay.
Angela, I have to because I have no willpower. Laugh all out. Cook my sweet. Yes,
that's what I do.
That's what I do. Take them with me. Matter of fact, I got some up there in the oven.
That's
cook up. It's nothing for me to cook up. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds of sweet potatoes a week. Throughout the week. I'm telling you got to have the sweet potatoes.
Exactly.
Saving grace.
That's right.
So anyway, but on that note, we're gonna let each and every one of you go with
infinite love and gratitude.
Infinite love and gratitude.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Always appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is our pleasure. We appreciate you. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us on this evening.
Yes.
Join us Saturday. Excuse me.
For our
I'm sorry.
home workout.
Yep. We'll be live Saturday morning at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with our fun in-home workouts.
That's right.
So if you don't have anything planned, come on, join us live. And if not, the replay always works. Always work.
We'll still sweat with you.
Yes. Next Wednesday, what do you have for us next week?
Next Wednesday, we're going to talk about why are we attracted or addicted to fast and junk food.
Okay.
So what makes us attracted and addicted or wanting to have it all the time?
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about next Wednesday.
Well, all right then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I got these allergies going on. We appreciate you all for joining us again. Always remember, our health is our wealth.
Yes, it is.
Okay? Our health, your health
that's right.
is your wealth.
That's right.
Making healthy choices creates healthy habits.
That's right.
Which develops our healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
Your healthy lifestyle, okay?
Yes.
So let us all get to the root of obtaining and sustaining our health by eating more plants.
That's right.
Moving our bodies.
Yes.
Stressing less. And loving more.
That's
okay?
Right.
And until next time, you all take care. Take care, everybody.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.